Hey YouTube, coming up with my second Willpower Cup team, and did not do well with this team at all, so I don't even recommend it, but I did want to showcase it because I think each individual part has something that I want to talk about. So METANG, shout out METANG, mandibuzz, and kommo-o. So again, I won't even talk about the team as a whole because I don't think it worked. My thought process, and my initial thought process was, I know there's going to be some charm users. I initially had mandibuzz with air slash and foul play. So my initial thought process was like, maybe I'll run Metang on the league. I'll go air slash mandibuzz, try and draw out a charmer. There's like 2 or 3 in this meta. Try and draw out a charmer, beat it with Metang as a steal, and then kommo-o as the dragon fighter in the back and not have to worry about a charmer. Half the time it didn't just work out like that. Other half, I just did not like air slash on mandibuzz, so I switched it to snarl, and then yeah. So we'll talk about that in a second here. Grumpig though is a very good lead. Psychic or Psywave is resisted. Fury Cutter is super effective. Mandibuzz comes in, throwing resisted air slashes, right? So I'm just staying in for a little bit here, so I can chip with Fury Cutter, chip with Gyro Ball, and then catch on my own Mandibuzz the foul play. Or Dark Pulse, but I think it's a foul play. Oh, no, Dark Pulse even better. So that's a lot of energy gone. So now we're in a mirror match air slash. I've chipped to ensure that I'm going to keep switch. So I'll keep my Metang on it so I don't have to get my fighter in the back with us on a Psywave user. But yes, it is a very slow, boring matchup here. If I sound a little stuffed up, I am. You know, we're second full week of school here, and that's what happens when you have 2 young kids in a second full week of school. You get stuffed up for the next 10 months. Okay. Mandibuzz comes in, so get off an air slash, just a chip. Getting to the upper hand here. This will take out if they let it go. They do let it go. Out comes the Grumpig. It is a Psywave user. I do have clanging skills, so likely to grab a shield here, or it's going to like pretty much one shot. So I'm likely to grab a shield here. And if I don't, that just basically one shots. So yeah, don't let a clanging scales land on you. It does like 150 damage. Murkrow. I saw a lot of these. I mentioned that in my team this morning. I saw a lot of those. Here is just like a very slow. I've got, although Dragon Tail's resisted, upper hand is double super effective, and I resist Fury Cutter, and I resist Night Slash, and I resist all that stuff. Unfortunately, they double boost with the Night Slash, so 10%, what is it, 10-20% chance. Get that boost. So even though it is resisted moves now, they are still chipping. Do get off the upper hand. Kommo-o is a great answer to, again, I'll kind of showcase a few battles here, and then I'll talk about each individual piece here. But Kommo-o is a great answer to Pawniard because it resists has upper hand double super effective, plus it is a great answer to the bug and then dark. So throwing a Psyshock here just to grab a shield, and the Mandibuzz now on the Claydol. Mudslap is resisted, but these Rock Tombs will be super effective, so I will shield this up. Honestly, I think part of the reason I hate Mandibuzz is just because how boring it is. It's so slow. Doesn't hit hard. It's even worse with air slash. It's just, I mean, maybe better for the meta because there's a lot of darks, so you'd at least hit neutral as opposed to Snarl, which is resisted. But you know, you charge faster with Snarl, so being able to spam these charge moves better. Not a bad trade-off there. So throw this. Because they lower my attack times 2, I'm not going to be able to take it out, so I'm going to try to catch here. And if I don't catch, you know, at least I reset that double attack drop. Looks like they're going to get another one. I think the Murkrow has a move. And quite honestly, I'm more scared of a Murkrow with Drill Peck than a Shadow Murkrow with Drill Peck than I am to a non-stab Rock Tomb. And with that, I actually get the farm down, the takeout there with that. Claydol's a weird one because you are actually hitting super effective. Claydol's obviously hitting super effective against you with the Mud Slap, but you are also hitting super effective against it with the Fury Cutter. So I banked the move. Part of me thought I was going to catch on Mandibuzz, but I just did not for some reason. And now they have an Air Slash Mandibuzz, so you know, we'll throw the Clanging Scales, try and chip huge here, or grab one shield. You know, do chip to the yellow. Now I can just mirror match it, but that doesn't really help my front end matchup there with METANG against the Claydol. And when this matchup's going to play out. Okay, let me talk about these individual pieces, because again, I wouldn't use them on a team, but I understand why each of these have potential play in the meta. Again, I've already kind of gone over kommo-o, but I'll just go over it again. There's a couple steals, right? Poniard, METANG, and a couple fairies where Dragon Tail's resisted. Well, all your moves are resisted, so you got to watch out for the couple fairies that are in here as well. But outside of those, you're generally safe. Dragon Tail should hit neutral against everything. Upper hand, you're hitting super effective against the dark. I guess you do need to watch out for psychic users too, because you are half fighting, but upper hand will hit super effective against darks. Clanging scales will just hit super hard against everything, and the spam on a move that does 100 and what is it, 120, 140 damage, something like 140. Why don't I just have PV Poke open? I think clanging scales is like 144 damage, something like that. I'm just going to check in the background here. But it is an insane amount for a move that comes at a speed of 12, 12, 12, 9. 144 damage, 3.2 damage per energy. Like one of the best damage per energy moves you're going to get in the game. So definitely one that will have play. You know, there are some Fury Cutter users, you'll resist that. You'll resist dark because you're fighting. So it definitely does have play, although limited against... Oh, again, steals you hit super effective with upper hand, so it's maybe not even bad against steals, but there is the charm users that just kind of wall you. And psychics, which are going to be a little bit of an issue. You know, Claydol's the #1 ranked Pokemon. I did showcase it this morning, and so it is tough to use METANG in this matchup just because you will get to the Gyro Ball. Like, I'm staying in this matchup to play it out. And you can just see that the Mud Slaps, especially on the Shadow, is just really adding up here. So I did grab one shield, but now I'm just going to go down, and they're going to have some health left. And I think it's like maybe this matchup, and I'm just like, I hate this Air Slash. I'd rather just go Snarl. You know, I've said this multiple times before, and I've said it with Claydol in the Open Great League. I really do not like Psychic as a typing in the Go Battle League. I think just Dark Ghost has been very prevalent for the many, many seasons of GBL, while at the same time, Bug is now buffed as well. So Psychic takes super effector from Ghost, Dark, and Bug. And again, there are a lot more of those out in the meta now than there have been before. In a meta that has 3 typings, and one of those typings is Dark, you already pick up one weakness. There seems to be a lot of other Psychic type Pokemon that also have Ghost move. Like we saw, it didn't get off the Shadow Ball, but we did see a Grumpig, which again, it's a good matchup because you have Fury Cutter, but there's other Pokemon that have Ghost type moves. Bug still hits you, even though you're half steel, Bug still hits neutral against you. So I think my concern with METANG and why I don't think it's good in this meta, even though it's ranked like, I think it's like the 8th or 10th ranked Pokemon in this meta, quite honestly. Let me just check it out, what the ranking is. It's a number 4. It is the number 4 ranked Pokemon in this league. I'm going to say that is extremely, extremely, extremely overrated. And it's 16 and 19 record and 42 average. I even think that's like better than I think it is. My main concern is the charge moves. I'm fine with Fury Cutter. Fury Cutter hits super effective against Psychic, hits super effective against Dark. That's 2 of the 3 typings in this meta. Yes, it's resisted against fighting, but you have Psyshock for fighting. The problem is Psyshock is resisted by both Dark and Psychic. So although you're hitting super effective with your fast move, hopefully, right, against a pure Psychic or pure Dark, sure, a lot of these the problem is, this is one of the problems. First problem, a lot of these Darks and Psychics have secondary typing that end up neutralizing that Fury Cutter. So there are a lot of Ghost Dark. So suddenly your Fury Cutter is only hitting neutral. At the same time, the Dark is still on that typing. The Psychic is on other Pokemon typing. Your Psyshock is resisted. And Psyshock is your bread and butter when you're using this Pokemon. The only reason this Pokemon is even half decent in the Open Great League is because Fury Cutter is such a fast charging move. Psyshock got buffed a couple seasons ago, and you're doing 100 damage for a Psyshock at 10, you are essentially, again, ignore the typing, ignore the safe swap aspect of it. You're essentially Drapion's Crunch. Your Fury Cutter's charging to 10. Drapion's Poison Sting's charging to 10 to their Crunch. I don't know if I said Crunch. You're charging to 10 to the Psyshock here. 10 to the Crunch on Drapion. Both do 100 damage moves, right? So they're both very strong, just spammy Pokemon that can output a good amount of damage in 10 turns. When you can't output that damage at 10 turns, it really limits what you can do in this meta. So you have to rely on Gyro Ball. Now, Gyro Ball did get buffed this season, but I don't think it's like that strong yet. 50 for 115. I guess I should not dismiss that. 115 is not inconsequential. But then you're always relying on that move, right? 115 is not too bad. I think it's because you're giving up the shadow damage here that makes it feel like that's why it's not worth it, because you suddenly drop 20% on your defense. So now you're dropping your defense from 146 to what? Drop 28. So what did I say? 146, and then I said 28. So 117 defense. Not bad, but not great, right? So I just think that in the meta that is really, really focused right now on Darks and Psychics and not a lot of fighters that I've seen yet, METANG's not so strong. Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is a weird one. I've seen more Murkrows. I've seen a lot of Mandibuzz. Like, you've seen a lot of the mirror matches in this set here. I've seen a good amount of Mandibuzz. You feel Air Release was such a bad move, and yet you feel the Air Release nerf here, in my opinion. So Air Release got nerfed. That's the reason that Jumpluff is out. That is the reason that Superior is out, and that's the reason why Mandibuzz has dropped a bit. So now, all of a sudden, Air Release is no longer a bait move for Mandibuzz. It now costs more than Foul Play. So Foul Play is a 40 energy, and an Air Release is 45 energy, and they both do 72 damage. So you essentially just kind of limit your ability to use Air Release in most of the cases. So I think that's why I ended up switching to Snarl Dark Pulse, because at least, the damage per energy on Air Release is 1.6. The damage per energy on Dark Pulse is 1.92, and the actual raw damage is 96 for a 50 energy move. So when I was using Air Slash, I'm like, Air Slash is slow on the charge for starters, and now with Air Release further out there, it's a slow charge to get to a move that's still not good. I would rather just have a quicker charging Snarl that gets me to a better Dark Pulse that I can still hit neutral or super effective against these Psychics, neutral against other Pokemon, potentially. Not many other Pokemon, right? Because Dark is resisted and Fighter resist. But I can at least spam the Air Releases at a quicker pace with Snarl than I could with Air Slash. Understand that Air Slash is going to put more damage. So you can use either. So I think Mandibuzz has play. I saw enough. Galarian Moltres did so well for me this morning, and I've seen enough Murkrows to know that there is definitely play for a Dark Flyer in this meta. I think there's not a lot. There are some Charm users, but not a lot. I think there are a ton of Cladles, so being able to have that Dark typing and resisting the Mud Slaps is very strong. I think you have a good amount of Darks, and with all these secondary moves, Air Release here, again, not a good move, but the Drill Pecks on Murkrow and the Fly and Brave Bird on your Galarian Moltres, I just think that these Dark Flyers do have good play. If I had to choose one of the three, would I run Mandibuzz? No, I think I would run Galarian Moltres, in my opinion. But again, I do not generally like slower, bulkier Pokemon. I've never been a fan of them. That's why I don't use Bastion much. I don't use Azumarill much. I understand their place in the meta, and I will use them if I need to. If they make sense on a team, I will use them, but they're not my go-to Pokemon. I would rather use something like a Galarian Moltres. But yeah, all should have play. Just maybe not on these three teams, on this together, this team. So we are now on day 2 here. the meta is pretty narrow. We've kind of seen it. I can just go down on the list here and confirm. Crap ton of Cladles, decent amount of Mandibuzz, a few Pawniards, some Metangs, definitely got Annihilape and Primeape in there. Galarian Moltres, yep. Drapion, yes. Murkrow, yes. Sableye, yes. Galarian Rapidash, 1 or 2. Spiritomb, Guzzlord, yep. Morpeko, yes. Hatterene as the Charm user, yes. 1 or 2 Malamars. That's it. Oh, a couple Greninjas. I think Greninja's kind of an actually interesting one because you resist the dark, you resist psychic, and you're hitting pretty hard with the Water Shuriken and Hydro. So I think Greninja built properly is actually probably going to be pretty strong in this meta. But like no Cresselia, no Skunk, no Vullaby, no Thievul, no Machoke, no Samurott, no. We're already at, like, there's nothing below. There's like one below 30. It's basically a top 25 Pokemon. A lot of these are doubled up. Like Metang's at 4 and 5, Annihilape's at 6 and 7, Sableye's at 11, 14. So when I say top 24, it's really like a top 17. There are 17 Pokemon in this meta, and that's all you're going to see. So it's going to feel RPS. It's going to feel tight. I think there are Pokemon that are just generally strong. I do think that, again, I will repeat again, I do think these Dark Flyers are strong. I think that Claydol is strong. I think, and I haven't tested them yet. I tried Annihilape on my first team, and I think it was a team issue. If I had to use one fighter, I honestly think I would use Primeape. Honestly, I think the spam, where you're hitting potentially super effective with Rage Fists against some Psychics, or just boosting your attack, I think that's going to be more valuable than a hard counter. Because a lot of these things seem to have secondary typings that neutralize the counter at best, resist it at worst. So I think the fighters make sense in this meta. I just think that Primeape is probably the one you want to use, in my opinion. But happy to know your thoughts on the meta. Oh, and the Sableye Spiritomb. I think those two are sitting here at 14, 16. I think those two are going to be pretty strong. So I would not be surprised if I try a double fighter team, or at least a single fighter team with Primeape, maybe double with Primeape Annihilape. I would not be surprised if I try a Sableye Spiritomb type team. I think those Pokemon are going to be pretty strong in the meta. Morpeko, you know what? If we do start seeing a lot of these flying darks, because I think those are strong, Morpeko makes sense too. So we'll have to see which of these pair up well together. But again, I don't love, you know what? I'll give them props. Thank you for at least giving us a great league every single time that there is a Master League or an Ultra League on. We did not have that last season, and it hurt people. 3 typing meta, where there's not much even fighter in this meta. There's just a crazy ton of Psychic and Dark. Thanks for giving us an option, but it's not exactly the greatest option. But there is also the Mega Master League, and I have done one set so far at the time of filming. I will be doing another one and showcasing my team. Showcasing that team tomorrow. And not only do I have thoughts on the Master League itself, I have the thoughts on what it's like playing a league that you're not used to. Like I truly take for granted how many times I've played these crappy cups. Like I've played Open Great League tens of thousands of battles. Ultra League probably like 5,000 plus battles. Limited cups, a lot of these limited cups are recycled for the 5th, 6th, 7th time. So I've seen these matchups. I know the different typings and I know all this stuff. So I understand how these matchups play. But when you haven't played Master League in like 10, probably 15 seasons now, and you go in against a bunch of Pokemon that you don't know their moves, and you don't know the counts, and you don't know how much damage does, and you don't know how hard it is on the attack, and you don't know how much the defense is, it's crazy how out of your element you can get that even if you have all the basic fundamentals of knowing typings, know how to fast move time optimization, know how to build a team, how you can just like really, really struggle in a league that you do not know, that you're not comfortable in. So I'm going to talk about that a bit tomorrow because I'm definitely feeling it with the team. Like I've got a good team. I've got 3 level 50 hundos and 2 are legendary and 1's a mega. Like I have all the recipe for having a team that is strong in the Master League Mega, but I can't. And I'm like 2 and 3 after the first set because it's just like I do not understand how these Pokemon play against the other Pokemon and the strengths and weaknesses. So it's kind of it's interesting. It's just, again, as someone who's played like 70,000 battles through like GBL and other things, it's just like it's a weird feeling to have as someone who's doing this for so long. Anyways, yeah, stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.